Hello and welcome back to the Atlas readings. So, I have finally gotten all of the Atlas entries done. So now I just gotta work on doing the readings. Definitely hard fought. Some of these heroes, people in my bracket just do not play. Today's readings are going to be Magnus to Meepo. So, Magnus, Marci, Mars, Medusa, Meepo. So without further ado, this is your host, Fran Eden, coming to you from the plains of eternal carnage. And let's...
Whosoever brought the fires of Mount Jorlak down upon my kin, know this. You are craven. I shall track you down, and once I do, you shall die upon my horn. Slowly.
Magnus. There, Umbercloth, the last of a long family line of hunters and poachers, removes a rabbit from a snare. We're trekking up and down Mount Jorlak, checking his traps as he speaks. Rabbits and whatnot are fine, he drawls. But Magnus that is a real prize. His father, Kalor Undercloth, had been an esteemed poacher, esteemed as a poacher can be, which is to say not very outside of poaching circles. Kalor had set his sights on trapping one of the gargantuan beasts when Ver was just a boy of 12. The creature's magnetic horn alone would have earned his father enough coin to feed his family for years. But when Mount Jorlak erupted, spewing liquid fire and ash for miles, the Magnusuri that didn't die in the disaster fled north. All except for one. Magnus. Kalor didn't even have the time to ready his spear before he was pulled by some unseen force towards the beast. Ver watched from a hunting blind as Magnus's horn impaled him. Real prize, Ver mumbles as he pulls a fox from a rusty trap. But ain't worth the cost. Good kind. Oh, yeah. Marci. I forgot. I was actually kind of expecting like a whistle or something. I'd been told that Marci didn't talk, which only made me want to meet her all the more. Believe me, it's a rare thing in this world to have a reputation like Marci's without the oafish boasting that comes with it. Fortunately, acquaintances of hers were more than happy to speak on her behalf, in exchange for a few coins. We met in the Night Silver Woods, unfurling their recollections as Marci paced nearby, diligently watching the trees for the return of her charge, Princess Marana. Each had a story, all of which they had claimed to have seen firsthand, all more fantastical than the last. With her bare fists, or so they said, Marci had killed bandits, armies, and even the occasional god. Given Marci's unassuming appearance, I suspected this was all nonsense. That is, until Marci whistled. By the time I had turned my head, she was bounding purposefully in the woods. Her acquaintance promises there was no need to follow. And so we waited. And soon Marci returned, covered in blood, walking with a spotless Princess Marana at her side. Mossgrave. We love Marci. Marci is great.
My allegiance will never be to an ancient, only to victory.
Mars. I used to be impudent, booms Mars, the ancient god of war from atop his majestic golden throne. I was cocky. I waged war just to see the terrified faces of mortals as I ran them through with my spear. If his resplendent throne room today is a sign of a more humble Mars, he must have been insufferably arrogant before. Massive tapestries hung from every wall, each celebrating him as the victor in an epic battle meant to dwarf the epic battles of all the other tapestries. Dozens of statues compete for real estate, each illustrating the god of war as a heroic mid-blow fight pose, which makes it look more like he's endlessly fighting other versions of himself in some more cramped corners. Mars speaks of how he no longer lets his most basic impulses lead him into battle. He no longer covets fear and respect of mortals, but that won't stop him from spreading war. War is necessary! His voice reverberates through the massive chamber. It demonstrates who is worthy. The old gods, he says, have grown complacent and weak. With his newfound humility and responsibility, therefore, he has decided that he must suffer the burden of ruling over all he sees with an iron fist. Before, I thought I should be king of the gods, because I was cocky and foolish, he admits. Now I see I must be, because I am sensible. Good kind. I love Marci's such a dick.
Sharpening my fangs.
Medusa. The statue-filled town square of Shulcast hints at a glorious past until you take a closer look and see that these statues aren't celebrating grand figures from bygone days. They show a town in panic. A traveling theater group had come through, bringing a pantomime about the mythical Gorgons. Like most pantomimes, it was silly, mocking, and the Gorgon Medusa does not take kindly to mockery. The show was booked for a week, and the performers were supposed to move on, said Luther Garrick, the town's new mayor. But I guess word had got out about their show, and how funny it was. It was pretty savage. People weren't used to telling jokes about Gorgon in public like that. Big hit. Anyway, Medusa showed up on day 3. Ages ago, Medusa's own sisters had been kidnapped for their beauty and immortality. She herself had forsaken her own stunning appearance for the tools to exact revenge. She slithered into Soulcast and cast her gaze on the actors, and then she turned on the crowd who had been laughing along with the show. The statues still decorate the town square, too heavy to move from the stage. They serve as a warning to hopeful thespians. Don't make fun of Gorgons if you can't handle the reviews. Good kind.
Meepo the Geomancer!
Hey, Meepo! I love Meepo. I can't play him for shit, but I ended up having to get other people, wait for other people to play Meepo near me to get this one done. But I adored his character in Crownfall. And I wish I could play him better so I could don the chicken suit and be a menace. But alas. As we entered the shack, built from disparate scavenged materials, Meepo giggled. Welcome, welcome! Take a seat, he said, motioning towards what looked like a rotting throne from some long-dead civilization. No, thank you. I prefer to stand. I winced, to Meepo's seeming delight. He looked over my shoulder. When I followed his gaze, I saw another Meepo sitting on a cracked stool, smiling. Saved yourself, both said. The new Meepo dramatically stretched and yawned, putting his arms behind his head. Recognizing a distraction when I see one, I turned to find a third Meepo rifling through my satchel, searching for anything worth stealing. When I reached out to grab him, he disappeared with a pop, along with a leaf-shaped meal I'd been saving for my journey home. When I turned around, 2 more were there. All 5 Meepos, Meepi, faced me from every direction and said, You don't mind if I borrow this, do you? I said I didn't. At this point, it seemed like the quickest way to stop making more of him. Hey, Meepo. So that is our 5 for tonight. Next time would be Marana, Monkey King, Morphling, Muerta. Nagasire? Yeah. So have a lovely evening, and I'll see you then.